YouTube a bunch of times just to see what other people's best ways to do it are, and I've used the the whole hose clamp thing, and although that works really good, I was thinking there must be an easier way, or there may be an easier way. I'm not by any means saying that the way I figured out how to do this is the best way, or necessarily better or worse than anybody else's, but this is the way I glue up my rings now. And this pile of segments right here was a experimental or a test ring that I put together because that's the way I always do it. I cut my template, I cut a ring, I put it together to see if all the pieces fit, and it turned out to be a 25-piece ring, which is fine if you're just doing vertical patterns, not so good if you're doing vertical and horizontal patterns or mixed patterns. So I thought I would just use this for a test video. It'll help me learn how to do a video because I'm not good at this. And it might show you an optional way to glue up segments that might work for you. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. So here we go. This is the way I've done it before. You're using a bunch of these clamps. They're kind of spendy, and I've always had trouble with this little piece right here pushing the block in and making it not be an even ring. So I thought I would try using a bungee cord. So this is just a piece of bungee that was I got on Amazon. I think you get 50 feet of this stuff for about I don't know, 15-20 bucks, or maybe it was more, I don't know, something like that. Not terribly expensive, pretty handy, and it lasts a long time, and it's pretty versatile. The way you make the hoop is I tie the if you're a Boy Scout, you might remember something called a taunt line hitch, and it goes like this. You wrap around the inside of here twice, once, twice, then you come back around the outside of it and come around it again and tuck it in to itself and snug that up. I know you can see that really well, but you get the gist of it. If you need to, you can go online and look up, I think it's called a taunt line hitch, but in the end it looks kind of like this. I'll show you both sides of that. Okay, so that's a fresh one, and I'll just use this old one just to let you know that it works for a long time, and you can use it over and over and over again. What happens is this just slides in, slides out, and it makes a nice rubber band kind of thing. So what I always do is I put my pieces together, I test fit them, make sure all the segments are good. So like I said, this was a test ring to make sure all my angles were good, because I like to, if I can glue it all up in one shot, that's the way I like to do it. And if that means I have to adjust my template to make that happen, that's what I do. I don't want to, I want my rings to be the same size around every I want them to be consistent. I don't want to have a short one in there so that it messes with the pattern. This way the centers will stay more centered. But anyway, this came out to be a 25-piece ring because that's the way the angles fit. So then I had to make an adjustment to cut other rings. This one's just fine as a 25-piece ring. For the purposes of showing you how this all works. So there it is. All the pieces are kind of laid together in a loose form or fashion. And then I take my my hoop here, my bungee cord, and I'll put it around there, and I'll slide it up like this, and I get it to where it's starting to pull things tight, and then kind of flush up my rings a little bit, roll this up to about the center of the hoop, and I can pull it tight. There it is. Nice tight hoop. It's pretty versatile, it's pretty sturdy. My pieces can be easily adjusted. The smaller hoops, you know, you can go bigger than this, but when you get to the larger hoops, sometimes you have to put on 2 bungees, but it's sturdy enough to hold itself together. Certainly strong enough to hold for gluing. And sometimes I'll put a board on top of this with a weight on it to make sure the pieces stay flat. And that's kind of the test fit. And then to unloosen my test fit, I just grab hold of that, open this up, and now it's preset to the proper size, and I'll glue this ring up. I'll just take it there. If I have a pattern, I push it away so that it's all in order, and then I can just glue things up. I'll take this, just make me a little puddle here. That ought to be about enough, and if it isn't, we'll always wish it was, right? So here we go. Gluing. And when I'm gluing up my regular pieces, I normally will, when I do my setups, I'll index the grains. You know, I'll make one grain go up, one grain don't go down, or if I need to adjust a pattern or something like that. That way they all stay the way I intended them to be. And there we go. I'll do this as quick as I can for you. I don't want to bore you with it. Round and round and round we go. So like I say, this is just the way I do it. I always do things, I always learn things the hard way. I've tried the other way, and it works, but I think for me this works a little better. For you it may or it may not. It's just another way. I used to do a lot of snowboarding and such, and when the snowboard thing came out in the early days, everybody hated snowboarders. Skiers hated snowboarders and all that, and I never really, to me it was just another way to get down the mountain, and I had kind of always been open to trying new tricks. I try not to close my mind to other ways of doing things. But when I find something that works for me, I try to stick to it, and I like to share it and let other people know. And this little Rockler glue brush, I think it's Rockler, yeah, it's Rockler. I really like this thing. It works really nice. Keeps things nice and neat. Smears the glue on without making a big old mess. I used to do it with just putting the glue out of the glue bottle and smear it around with my finger, but I had awful messy fingers. Oh yeah, the other thing I use for gluing up my rings, this little black slippery pad here, got it from Costco. It's one of those things you use to cook on your barbecue with, but it's really good for gluing on because it's pretty easily to clean. And if you you put your piece on it here and stretch it all tight, throw a weight on top of it if you need to, and when the glue's all dry, you just lift it off there. It doesn't, whatever glue's on there doesn't stick real hard. Look at that, got that the right amount of glue, didn't I? So there's that. Okay. Now I'll take my rubber band here, my bungee band here, put it all around. I like to open it up so it's plenty wide, and then just slide that down. And as you can see, once it starts, I snug it up. Then I make sure my band is nice and centered. And I can pull it up tighter. Check it again, maybe kind of fudge around with the pieces a little bit. Make sure everything's fitting nice. Maybe pull it up one more time. And there you go. It's nice and tight. I can pick it up. Move it around, and then sometimes I'll put a board on top of that, a piece of steel, just to make it heavy, and there you go. This will be on the first video of OPA's workshop, first video of the year, first video I put on YouTube. So hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe, leave a comment if you like. I'll read them all and respond. Yeah, that's a ring. Thanks for watching.